Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the most conspiracy-filled episode of DSP versus the internet I've ever seen. And I've been doing this show for about a year and a half right now. Um, Weird, wild stuff. We'll see if that thread continues. We have another video of Ultra member submissions here to get through before we get to the common submission tier. Let's just jump right into it. So this next one is Jon Stewart, former host of the Daily Show, which used to be a comedy news show on Comedy Central. But then after that, he got into kind of like real political commentary and stuff like that. I think he's going to be is he the host of the Daily Show again? I think he is now. But anyway, let's see what this video is all about. Here he is on Real CNN 1 year ago. Jon Stewart, this is why Trump became popular in the first place. Let's see what he has to say.
By Jon Stewart himself.
But who else would it be? Fareed, it's nice to see you. I love your aquarium.
Thank you, exactly.
Yes.
We can go swimming afterwards.
Yes.
So I got to ask you, it's a big thing in the news, Donald Trump indictment. There are people
What?
No, just stay with me for a minute. There are people
I've been
who
watching
say,
the live cameras at the courthouse. It's imminent. Breathless speculation.
So there are people who say, yes, you have to indict him because he has in fact broken the laws, and there are other people who say this is going to turn him into a martyr. This is his path to redemption.
Sure.
How do you think about it?
Oh, the law should always take into account someone's popularity. I think that's I mean, what's happened to our country? It's as though you can't even commit financial fraud anymore. You can't inflate the value of your properties when you need a loan and then deflate it with taxes. I mean, the next thing you know, they're going to send you to jail instead of your lawyer and your accountant and your campaign manager and everyone else around you. The idea that someone may face accountability who's that rich and powerful is outrageous, and this country shouldn't stand for it.
But
See, he's absolutely right. The problem is we stand for it every day because Donald Trump is literally like the first person who they targeted like this. People in power have been getting away with this forever. They never get held accountable for their actions. But now, because they don't want Trump to be reelected, that's why he was selected to be the target. You see, that's what the weird thing is. Like, we all just shrug when everyone else commits crimes constantly, does insider trading, does all kinds of messed up stuff. Oh, they're all fine. But then when Trump gets targeted, all of a sudden, this is good. It's like, well, either it's all or nothing. It's not selective enforcement of the law. So right now, why don't you clamp down on every single other politician and send them all to jail? Because they all are guilty. They've all been doing this similar shit for ages and ages, and no one does anything about it.
But what if it turns out to be his get out of jail free pass? It's his path to, people will see him as a martyr.
Okay.
You're okay with that? He could become president again.
He could become president anyway. Fareed, we either have the rule of law or we have no rule of law.
Yeah, you see, it's pretty. So don't enforce the law because people might actually be reinvigorated to make him president again. Like, what? Jon Stewart is right here. Even though you could tell he hates Trump, like, law is law. It applies to everyone equally, and everyone should be held accountable. No one should be above it at all. It doesn't matter if it empowers them or it hurts them. The law is the law, and it must be enforced. Enough with this selective enforcement. I agree here.
The rule of law does not take into account if that might make you a martyr to somebody. I'd much rather have the conversation be, what is the law? What exactly are we saying that he did? His lawyer went to jail for this same situation for a couple of years. So what is the crime? Is it a crime?
There are people who say it's selective prosecution, that this would not...
Everything is selective prosecution. The reason why Donald Trump became popular in the first place, and the reason why these populist movements, is that the citizenry have become fed up with the lack of accountability for those in power. We have no accountability in our financial systems. We have no accountability for the bankers. I mean, our Congress trades stocks with information they get making laws, and they do it to great success, and they won't stop it because they're the ones in charge of making the law about it. And
He's 100% correct. There's a right now, if you're interested in this topic, there's a Twitter account called Unusual Whales, and they cover this in great detail. How our politicians in the United States do this. They trade stocks based on insider information they get from being politicians. They are insanely filthy rich because of it, and they don't enforce any laws, so therefore they just get away with it. It's completely illegal. You can't do it. It's called insider trading. None of them should ever be able to do it, and they all have. And it freaking who was it? Nancy Pelosi, I think it was, with Nvidia stock. She just magically knew that Nvidia was about to be a burgeoning company with AI and bought all their stock, and all of a sudden made insane landfall. How the fuck would she have known that? No one else did, but she magically did and made insane amounts of money on Nvidia stock. Wow, that's just coincidence, right? You just gambled and got lucky. Sure, you totally don't know anyone there, right? He's absolutely correct in what he's saying here.
Instead of bringing accountability to the rampant corruption that is surrounds our government and our financial systems, the Supreme Court just changed the definition of corruption.
Yep.
Rather than prosecuting it, rather than holding people accountable, they just went, how about this? Okay, why don't we just say this?
It was even better than that, was that they said, you politicians, you think that's corruption because you're engaging in it, but we actually don't think it's corruption. And
we're going to tell you, don't worry about it. You can influence peddle as long as you don't explicitly say, by the way, this money is so that I may influence this law specifically. And you have to lay out. Like, that is what has the lack of confidence that people have in the system is, and you even see it throughout the media.
This is why I want you guys to understand in context that's not political, but something that goes on with me and my content. This is why I'm so upset that in gaming today, you have these content creators that are given everything for free. They get trips places. They get inside coverage of new games before they come out. Now, is it anywhere in any contract that it says you absolutely must say our game is great? No. But what do you think kind of behavior is going to result from them being treated like that? If you're given a game for free, if you're given opportunity to make thousands of extra dollars playing the game before anybody else, if you're flown out to a press event that you cover and you get tons of pampered treatment, you get money based on the videos you make at said event, and then you think you're going to say, this game is bad? Now, there's nothing to stop you from doing that. Well, of course, these content creators are going to be leaning towards saying the game is good. Why? Because then they will continue to receive the advanced treatment, the thousands of dollars in extra money and coverage, and that my, pat each other on the back, I scratch your back, you scratch mine mentality continues between game publishers and content creators. That's literally the lobbying process in the United States government. No one can outright say, oh, we're giving you money to change the laws to help us. But they just keep giving these fucking politicians money and stock and vacations and kickbacks. And then magically, oh, look, the laws all reflect that they help all these companies that are paying them this money. There's no one-to-one contract or correlation, but it just keeps happening. So somehow it's legal. It's this. Why do you think I'm so upset when I see gaming being corrupted the same way that I see happening in the American government? This is why I'm so upset about it.
Even that conversation. Should we not? It's but he's popular, and then it might make him more popular, but not less popular. Did he do something wrong? What was it? Explain that to us. What is the law that he supposedly violated? What are the ramifications of it? I don't see him ever actually going to jail. I personally don't even care. I just want a system that somehow finds a consistent accountability.
So in many ways, you, at least for me, you created or defined American political satire. How has that changed? I mean, it feels to me like the stuff you did, the showing the video and then commenting, it's become, it's everybody does it, and it's not even comics. I mean, that's what Tucker Carlson does when he wants to make his points.
Sure.
He's borrowing from your playbook.
Yes. No, it's a real delight knowing. It's always good to arm the most cynical and worst people in media.
You look at it and say now this whole thing is commoditized.
Well, it was commoditized. I wasn't doing it out of gracious altruism. I mean, we were selling Budweiser. It's always been commoditized. I think it's, there's a lot of talk of, so exposing absurdity or exposing hypocrisy. What's the point? Well, the point is that this is a relentless fight. They always talk about, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. But it doesn't bend towards justice by gravity. Like, you have to bend it. And there's a bunch of people trying to bend it back. And you use every tool in your arsenal, and none of them will be, the one thing. There is no panacea. It takes, all those different things doing in Washington over these past few years gave me a great understanding of how things actually get done incrementally and sometimes in one fell swoop. But our country is held together by hundreds of really talented legislative aides. Their bosses, many times, are wind-up dolls who really don't know. I mean, half of it, if you go down there, especially the Senate, is like an assisted living facility. Like,
what's funny is everything he's saying is right. The Senate, they're just tools. But a lot of them, they're not active thinking people. They're just doing whatever they're told by their party or special interests. It's pretty messed up. All right, I think we've done enough. There is another political video coming up, I think. I think we've done enough of this. Let's continue on to other things. Sheesh.
Obviously, when you're working with animals, the unexpected happens a lot.
Shocking video shows this bull jumping into
This just happened 2 weeks
a
ago.
crowd in Sisters,
Oh my God.
Oregon. 3 people were taken to the hospital with injuries. Thankfully, they are expected to be okay. Today, rodeo professionals are reacting to that video as many prepare for their own competitions.
As several rodeos are slated for the coming weeks, not just here in Portland, but throughout the state as well. K2 Shelby Slaughter joins us live now from North Portland. And Shelby, that video, shocking for anyone to see. I assume this isn't a common occurrence.
Yeah, Steve, it's not. I'm told it's actually very rare to see a bull hop over a fence like we did in that video. And oftentimes they're not looking to hurt anyone. These animals are actually very herd-driven animals, so they're just looking to get back to safety and what they know.
The moment things got out of hand over the weekend in Sisters, Oregon. This bull jumping a fence right into a crowd of people. Matt Weishoff at St. Paul Rodeo has been in this industry for decades. He tells me he's only seen something like this happen 4 times in his career.
Typically, when we first get them to the rodeo grounds, we'll run them in the arena, get them familiar with it.
Weishoff says there's a lot that goes into making sure that doesn't happen here, including these fences.
We have higher fences than normal. And again, it's just extremely uncommon.
These fences are taller than the ones in Sisters, at 7 foot high. A typical fence is between 5 and 6 foot. Weishoff.
I mean, the only thing that I can say about this is I don't know anything about rodeos or how common or uncommon any of this shit is. I'm just listening to the news report. Just put cages there then. Like they do it with NASCAR. They do it at any races because you never know when a piece is going to break off a car and fly into the crowd. You don't want someone to get hurt. So they have the chain fences. Put chain fences up. What else can you do, right? Unless you're just going to cancel the entire culture of rodeo culture because you feel like it's cruel treatment to animals, which I'm sure a lot of people would say. If you're going to continue doing it, you got to make it safer. I mean, oh, this is the one-off time it happened, so just ignore the fact that it happened and hope for the best. No, don't hope for the best. It happened now, so now, maybe do something. Like the bull's not going to jump through the chain fence. Right? So, I don't know what else to say. That's the only thing I can think of. But then you say, well, that's too cruel. Well, then just don't have rodeos. I don't know what else to say. I don't know too much about it. I've never seen a rodeo. I don't support them. I don't know anything about them. I'm not anti-rodeo either, but it just seems like the logical step, right? Is, okay, then put up the protection to stop it so it doesn't happen again. Right? So this is supposed to be a prank call from Bart Simpson.
In this environment, you answer to us, and I'm asking that you do not pass this policy in Virginia.
Thank you so much, Ms. Thomas. We do appreciate you. Phil McCracken. Phil McCracken.
Oh, so what this is a local government, and someone submitted fake names to basically be read to say they had something to say to the council or whatever, and they're not real. It's basically Bart Simpson jokes from like The Simpsons. Okay.
Sok, Suk, Mahidik.
Now, how did you know? Are you kidding? How do you fall for that one? Phil McCracken, okay, that maybe. Are you kidding me? You fell for that one?
Mahidik. Ophelia McHawk.
This guy.
McHawk.
These are the people in government. They have no self-consciousness whatsoever. They're like, hey, I just read whatever's on the paper. It's like Homer Simpson. Hey, it's on the paper. I got to read what's on the paper. You fucking idiot.
Eileen Dover.
Oh, dude, every single one of them.
Eileen Dover.
How dumb is this person?
Don Kiddick.
All right, dude, after 5 or 6, you haven't figured it out yet? There's no one here?
Don Kiddick. Wayne Kerr. Wayne Kerr.
You see, there was literally no consciousness that was being pranked at all. He had no idea. Okay.
Last night's debate may be the first time that millions of Americans have paid attention to the presidential campaign this year. And they heard a lot of claims that have been familiar refrains on the campaign trail, not all of them true. To help
pretty much all of them were wrong. Like, everything they talked about was bullshit.
put it into context, we turn to Samantha Putterman of PolitiFact. Sam, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So
Skype? Oh my God, people still use Skype? In 2024, she's using Skype. What the fuck? I didn't know anyone still... I thought it was defunct.
let's take some of these debate topics one by one, starting with the economy and inflation. Donald Trump said that President Biden caused inflation and that the cost of food doubled and tripled and quadrupled.
Of course that's fake. Of course that's false.
While President Biden says that Trump's proposed 10% tariffs would cost the average American $2,500 a year. Help us understand what's true.
Right. So on Trump's claim that Biden inherited inflation, that's mostly false. When Biden was inaugurated, inflation was about 1.4%, but that was shaped by the still weak economy during the pandemic. As pandemic conditions improved, the economy accelerated, leading to inflation peaking at 9% about a year and a half into his presidency. That was the highest in about 4 decades. But economists say that, his relief plan did exacerbate inflation, but he didn't single-handedly cause it. And on Trump's claim that, food costs is double, triple, and quadruple, we found that to be false.
It hasn't. It's higher, but it's not double, tripled, or quadrupled. Then we'd all be starving.
Costs have risen faster under Biden, but the 21% increase is nowhere near what Trump claimed. That would need to be about 300%, which is 10 times larger than what Trump said. And Biden's claim about Trump's proposed tariffs costing Americans $2,500, we found that to be mostly true. Economists expect that Trump's proposed 10% across the board tariff on foreign products will force consumers to pay more, and right around that range, between about $1,700 and $2,500.
Got it. So let's turn to immigration. Donald Trump said that President Biden has allowed in 18 million people and that they're coming from, quote, prisons, jails.
Like I said, it's all nonsense. Everything he said was nonsense in the debate.
And mental institutions.
It's all extrapolation, gross exaggerations.
President Biden says there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. What do we know about the situation on the southern border?
Right. So Trump's claim about the millions of people coming from prisons and mental institutions, we found that to be our worst rating, pants on fire. Data shows that officials have arrested a little over 100,000 non-citizens with criminal convictions from 2021 to 2024. Not everyone was let in. The data reflects the people that the government knows about. But it's inexhaustive. So immigration experts did say that despite these limitations, there's no evidence to support his statement. And also, we rated false his statement that Biden has allowed in 18 million people. Immigration officials have encountered immigrants illegally around 9.7 million times under Biden's presidency, while accounting for gotaways, that number rises to about 11.4 million. But encounters do not equal admissions. Encounters represent events, not people. So one person who tried to cross the border twice counts for 2 encounters. And a lot of these also led to expulsions. And
in truth, no one knows how many people got in. That's the truth. Like, no one knows. You only know how many people you stopped. How many people you caught and stopped. How would you ever know how many people came in? So Trump didn't know what he was talking about. And when Biden says shit, he doesn't know what he's talking about either. If he even said, oh, we reduced, there's no way you could know that. How do you know what you missed? Think about that. Think about how dumb that sounds. How do you know how many people came in when you didn't catch them? You would never know, you fucking idiot.
On Biden, he was more accurate on immigration. His 40% claim is mostly true. DHS announced that encounters.
This is bullshit. I'll tell you right now, this video is bullshit. They're literally only cherry picking the things where Trump completely exasperated and Biden was kind of right. This is bullshit because I watched 20 minutes of the debate, and in the back and forth, literally nothing either side said was right. Biden also said something about a 1% tax on rich people and that the common American pays 6%. It's completely false. He said all this nonsense. Half the time he didn't finish his sentence without trailing off and not knowing what he was talking about. So this is a bullshit video. This is completely from the side of cherry picking things to make Biden look better,
by
basically.
40% to fewer than 2,400 per day in the weeks after Biden announced his policy on June 4th.
On abortion, Mr. Trump repeated a false claim that he's made before, that Democrats, in his words, will take the life of a child in the 8th month.
This obviously is bullshit.
Even
after birth, what?
Help us understand this.
No.
Because willfully terminating the life of a newborn is illegal in every state.
Right. So
Yes, he's just making shit up. Of course Trump made that up.
Facilitate an exchange of ideas, and it was up to the candidates to challenge one another. That was an approach that both campaigns agreed to. What's the consequence when a torrent of lies and mistruths delivered with verve and vigor?
Yeah, this is 100% from the left-hand side because fucking Biden was just as bad. They were both basically just insulting themselves or insulting each other for like 25 minutes, and there was no point to even watching the debate any further. From what I saw, I was like, this is just a waste of everyone's time. I turned it off. So yeah, this is a complete one-sided spin video. Complete nonsense right here. Yeah. To misrepresent it that much is bullshit because Biden did it just as much as Trump. But they're saying, oh, only Trump did it. No, they both did it. It was really the worst debate I've ever seen in my life. It was just like 2 children insulting each other.
Oh, boy. The last video I uploaded...
Save 14 minutes. So I guess what this guy does, he just summarizes videos in extreme summarization. So Dr. Disrespect admitted to having inappropriate messaging with a minor. Dr. Dis said these were casual, mutual conversations that sometimes lean too much in the direction of being inappropriate. No pictures were shared and no crimes were committed. Mudahar said, in my opinion, he's a danger. The end. So that's it. He's basically saying there's no reason to watch Mudahar's videos. That's great. Why would you ever watch Mudahar's video? 14 minutes for him to just say, oh, Dr. Disrespect's a danger. Okay. I think that's it. That's it for the ultra submissions, I believe. I think we got through them all now. Let's double check that. Yes. Okay. All right. Good stuff. Thank you. Thank you very much for watching DSP versus the Internet. We still have an hour left. In the next hour, we'll be covering a few questions submitted by a super member, and then we'll get into the submissions tier submissions to see what people think there about random stuff, because the submissions tier is usually a big variety of stuff as well. I may do like I did last time, where the first half hour or so we just randomly played through, and then I pick some of the ones that I feel are the better submissions. We'll see. But anyway, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next part. Cool.